The story begins in the mountains of the ancestral saints, and its name is the Glorious City, which is the only area surviving from the attacks of demonic monsters and ice monsters. This is because it is hidden in the middle of the mountains, and people inside the city have not communicated with the outside world for hundreds of years. And we move to the Sacred Orchid Institute, and we see a teacher who teaches children, named Shen Ziyu, who is a silver-rated demonic spiritualist, and she is from an ancient family named the Holy Family, and she started explaining to students that there is something called a demonic spiritualist, and also fighters, and each of them has different classifications, starting from bronze, then silver, then gold, then black gold, then legendary, and each rating is divided into 5 stars, and says that the difference between the fighters and the demonic spiritualist is that the demon spiritualist can merge the souls of demons into the scope of their souls in battle, and they are much stronger than the fighters, and she shows them her demonic transformation, which is a fiery scarlet fox. During the explanation we see a sleeping student who is not paying attention, and his name is Nai Li, and suddenly he wakes up and is surprised, and does not understand what is happening around him, and is surprised by his small hand, and realizes that he is in a class at the Sacred Arcade Institute, and says that how this happened. The last thing he remembers is that he was in a battle with a powerful emperor and 6 monsters. He used all his strength in the battle, but he died, and looked around and saw that all his companions were alive. He understands that he has gone back in time. He started looking for an important book for him, the Book of the Temporal Devil, and he did not find it, and he was surprised because this book was important, and he was with him throughout his past journey, and he concluded that he had returned to time because of that book, and tells what happened in his past journey, which is the Glorious City. It was attacked by countless monsters, and the guardian of the Glorious City, who is the only demon spiritualist with the legendary rating Yi-Mo. He died in battle, and only a few of those who survived traveled through the endless desert east of the mountains, gradually died, and he was traveling with a girl whom he loved very much, but she suddenly died too, and he continues his story that he survived the desert and traveled a lot, and met a lot of people, and also many battles, but he regretted that he was weak when the city was destroyed, and all his friends, his family, and everyone he loved died, so he decides to change everything this time. He has the opportunity to fix all the mistakes that he made before, and he will not let the Glorious City be destroyed again, although he is very weak now, but because of his strong knowledge from his past journey, and from the Book of the Temporal Devil, things will be easier again. But the problem for him is now how he will get closer to his colleague, whom he loves, because it's impossible to talk to her now. If it hadn't been for the events that happened just before, they wouldn't have gotten to know each other, and this is because she is the daughter of the leader of the city, and her name is Yi Zian anyway. The friend who is next to him asks him, "Why are you smiling?" And he tells him, "I'm glad to see you, my wonderful brother." So he is surprised and says to him, "Let me, you are not my brother." But he says, "You are my brother, and this is the situation." So he is surprised, and his name is Lu Biao, and he says, "Advice from me, don't look at that girl, because she is the daughter of the leader, but Nai Li says she will be my wife, don't worry." During this time he is in a boy base near Xian, whose name is Shen Yu, who is also from the Holy Family. His aunt Shen Ziyu is the class teacher. But Nai Li says that although the Holy Family is one of the 3 major core families, in his last trip, the Holy Family abandoned the Glorious City and fled, so the Holy Family is considered a traitor to the Glorious City. And the boy is in this chapter because the Holy Family wants to get close to Ziyun and marry her, so that they can increase their influence and control the city. Because the Ziyun family is one of the main families, the family of the city leader anyway. The teacher continues to explain and says that the spiritual demon is stronger than the fighters, and they are considered the guardians of the city, and they are the reason for increasing the influence of families, since in order for the family to become aristocratic, a golden devil spiritualist must appear in the family, and if the family has a golden devil spiritualist, the family is a noble family. Either a legendary spiritualist or 3 golden black spiritualists appear. They will be from the main families. She says that people are not equal from the very beginning, and only students who are in strong families have the right to become strong satanic spiritualists, while people from ordinary families are supposed to give up their dreams, simply because they will not achieve anything from the attempt. Noticing that there is a boy who was depressed by the teacher's words, his name is Duzai, And Nai Li remembers that at the time of the destruction of the city, many powerful families fled, but Du Zai, although he is from a common family, but Du Zai worked hard to reach the golden demonic spiritual level without support and bravely fought to protect the glorious city until he died in battle. Unlike the traitorous Holy Family, which is why he gets angry at me and raises his hand and says, "I want to ask a question," and he says, "You said that the glorious city is the only one that survived the attacks of monsters. Do you have proof that we are the only humans left? Have you come out of the mountains of the ancestral saints, or have you visited the desert, the poisonous forest, or? She says, "I don't know anything but the glorious city, because I haven't come out of it since the day I was born." And he says, "Why are you so sure that we are the only survivors?" The school was shocked, and the class started talking. She asks him, "What is your proof that we are not the only survivors?" He says, "Let me tell you a story. There was a frog stuck in a well when he was born, so whenever he looked at the sky, he saw the sky from the hole in the well, so he believed that the sky was the size of the hole. So he asked, is the frog right or is he wrong?" The students started laughing, and the teacher started to get angry, but he asked her a second question. "You said that the common family will remain common all their lives. The question is, wasn't leader Yimo from a common family when he was young, but now he has become the leader of the city, and the only one at the legendary level?" And the students began to remember, but the teacher replied and told him that this didn't happen only once in hundreds of years. And Nai Li says, as long as leader Yimo is able to do it, everyone can do it too. The teacher replies that you focused on the leader Yimu, but ignored the others who had failed. Your name was Nai Li, right? Let me see your score. And when she looked at it, she see that the physical strength is 21, and the soul strength is 5, and the sea spirit range is red, and the red spirit range is considered one of the weakest soul ranges. And she started mocking and saying, "You are without manners, and it is impossible for you to reach even a silver spiritual level." But Nai Li says, "Do you think that a person's future is determined only by the scope of his soul? You are an arrogant person who tries to destroy people, and you are the one who talks about morality." The teacher got angry and told him, "How dared you respond to me like this?" But Nai Li told her that he is honestly regret that you are my teacher and many people in the class will achieve great achievements, and you tell me that my talent is low. I will become at the level of a legend like Boss Yimo. And the teacher laughs and says, "This is the most beautiful joke I have ever heard in my life." Nai Li said, "I will prove that to you." And then he said, "I have an idea for you. Why don't we bet on something?" And she said, "A bet." He says that in 2 months I will become a demon spiritualist with a bronze rating, and if I fail I will resign. But if I win, you resign from the school. She started laughing and said, "You want to increase your spirit strength from 5 to 100 in 2 months. He says to her, "Do you agree or not?" She definitely says yes. "And since you were rude, you will stand on the wall until the end of 2 months. And Nuli tells her, "Don't regret it after 2 months. And she says, "Don't come to me crying after 2 months. Standing at the back of the line by himself, Ziyi says to himself that Nai Li did all this because he was defending common people like me. So I won't let him stand alone like that." And then Lu Biao stand with them. The teacher said, "Good, stay standing," and then a group of students also stood up and stood with them. And with this, Nai Li got a group of loyal friends who will achieve great achievements with him. After that, the teacher said that the results of their spiritual power had arrived. Zai Yun got a Science C scale and a spirit strength of 86, and Shen Yu and Xiaoning got a green C scale and a spirit strength of 78. The two are about to become demonic spiritualists of the bronze classification, and everyone is shocked. At this time, Nai Li remembers Ning who is one of the 7 noble families, the winged dragon family, and was the only friend of Li Ziyan, and because her family wanted to marry her to one of the sons of the Holy Family, she decided to run away and entered the Black Devil Forest, and then disappeared. So Nai Li says that if he can help her this time, he won't hesitate. Du Zai then tells Nai Li that in order to become at the bronze level, the strength of our spirit must be 100, and this is not an easy thing, because it is said that bronze spiritualists can lift stones or break trees with their hands only, and that only talented people can reach this level in half a year, and all the less talent, the more time has increased, and it becomes impossible for most of the owners of the Red Sea. So the teacher was confident that she failed. But Nai Li says that 2 months is long enough. However, Lu Biao asks Nai Li if you like Zai Yun, and he says yes. Since that's the case, I wish you well, my friend, but as I told you, Ziyin is from a very important family, so be careful. Du Zi interrupts them and says be serious, we are in a difficult situation, and all you are thinking about is girls. Zai Yun is a genius and will become one of the elite, so she will move to the geniuses class, and will fly out of your eyes. Instead of training and working hard, you spend it talking about girls. Lu Biao replies, I'm not that kind of guy. I spend my time practicing and the other half thinking about girls. Du Zai is shocked and says, what are these people that I got involved with? And Nai Li says, don't worry, I promise to make you two the strongest demonic spiritualists. Du Zai tells him I will support you, and I will never give up, but Lu Biao says will it be tiring? Because my soul navy is red and it's useless, but Nai Li says don't worry, even I'm a soul navy red, and the exercise is not very tiring, but it requires a lot of money. Lu Biao says don't worry, I have money. I have stored 2,000 coins, and we can buy what we want, but Nai Li says 2,000 is not enough. We will need 2 million or even 10 million, and everyone is shocked. So the school day ends and Nai Li and his friends go to the market to buy hunting requirements and find beautiful armor and weapons, but all at high prices, because they are extracted from monsters and earn the user some of the monster's energy. And Lu Biao says that in his whole life, he will not be able to buy a suitable machine for himself. At the same time, Shen Yu is looking at the armor, and Zai Yun is walking around the market, so he starts bragging, takes out a lot of money, buys the armor, and the money is stored in a vacuum ring, and these rings are used to store luggage. Nai Li's friends start to get angry and say that the reason for all this money is because the Holy Family is so rich, and also they tell Nai Li to give up, because Shin Yui is a competitor. But Nai Li says that these actions cannot attract Zai Yun. Then Nai Li says let's stop playing, and let's buy hunting tools now, and asks Lu Biao to buy a bow and 500 arrows, and tell him about the meeting place, and Nai Li goes to buy black pond herbs and a solvent, and goes to the hill to pick herbs. Du Zai is surprised and asks him what she is doing, and Nai Li starts explaining, and tells him that black pond grass has a narcotic effect, but it is weak, and when he combines it with other herbs, he will become stronger and can anesthetize monsters at a low level. Du Zai is impressed and asks if you are a chemist, and Nai Li thinks and says that although he considers himself weak in chemistry, but because he entered the poison forest and learned from some chemists there, he can say that he is better than the chemists of this city by degrees. The chemists of this city should not call themselves chemists already. He answers yes, and Nai Li starts to block the mix, and they go to the designated area, but they see Li Biao who is late, because he bought extra armor because he is excited anyway. They enter the training area, which is an area dedicated to hunting low-level monsters for students, and their goal is to hunt horned sheep. It is true that it is low-level, but it is considered dangerous for trainees, and the plan is for Lu Biao to stand up in order to lure the sheep and aim Nai Li and Du Zai at him and drug him, but because of fear he cannot stand up. He starts to escape. It becomes difficult to catch him, and Du Zai shoots an arrow, but he could not hit him, and calmly Nai Li shoots an arrow at him and drops him to the ground. Their goal is to clean it up and sell the horns and the neck fur, the crystal and the demon spirit inside the monster, and they go to sell it. And so their system was to spend their time hunting monsters at night and going to school in the morning. And they stay a week like this, and they manage to collect 16,000 coins, and after this hard work the young people can't work anymore. So Nai Li tells them to rest, and that he has other things to do, and he will explore the area at the same time. And during his research, Nai Li feels a movement in the area, and starts exploring until he saw a light. She can't move for a long time, so Nai Li decides to help her, and then Ning feels that someone is near her and prepares to attack. Nai Li asks her to calm down, and when he tried to talk to her, she decided that she leaves, but Nai Li described the symptoms of her secret illness to her, and she was shocked that someone knew about her illness, because she had no cure, and she tried with all the doctors, but all of them could not cure her, so she cries asking him for help. Oh shit. And so we have reached the end of the story, and I hope for your support, because I want to continue this wonderful manhwa. So I ask you to subscribe and like if you liked it, and thank you for your precious time.